Let me tell you something about a weak handshake. When I shake a man's hand and his handshake is weak, there's something about that transfer of energy. It's like I can see your future, and I'm definitely not in it.
Red, red wine, red, red wine. Only get better with time. Only get better with time.
Hi guys, and welcome to our very first installment of RWGT Happy Hour. Etiquette for the modern man from a woman. The last time I came on here and gave advice to men, the response was so overwhelming that I decided I had to do it again. Today we are going to talk about handshakes. I've mentioned handshakes a couple of times across a couple of my videos. It was mentioned in my How to Shoot Your Shot for Women video, where I definitely suggested that women introduce themselves to men by extending their hand and offering a handshake. And then in my How to Shoot Your Shot for Men, in that video I mentioned the importance of a handshake. So one of the most common ways to greet people around the world has become a handshake. There are many other ways to greet people, but today we are focusing on the topic at hand. The topic at hand is handshaking. So the handshake dates all the way back to like the medieval times. And so that was basically a gesture used to check if the opponent or if the person that you were meeting was secretly carrying a weapon or had a weapon hidden like under their sleeve. In the Roman era, the handshake was actually more of an arm grab, and this began to be recognized as a show of strength. So just imagine arm wrestling, right? If the person is of an equal strength to you, then you guys are basically like even. But obviously the stronger person is going to have their hand on top, and the weaker person is going to have their hand on the bottom. And because I know my men, I know my black men, you're probably tempted to say right now, well, cleanliness is next to godliness. I don't shake everybody's hand. That's cool. But if you meet someone, especially in a business setting, and they reach their hand out to shake your hand and you meet them with a fist bump, it's disrespectful, and this person is more than likely not going to want to do business with you. Body language in general is the biggest tell-all to who a person is and where their confidence lies. And just for reference, I definitely encourage you to look up the video of Obama and Trump meeting for the very first time. Throw all your opinions of the two men away, watch the video on silence, and tell me which one do you deem more trustworthy. So here's everything you need to know, per me, about shaking a hand. So when you meet someone, the person who initiates the handshake is most likely to be seen as the leader in this situation or scenario. The proper way to give a handshake is to extend your hand forward like this. It is considered disrespectful to shake someone's hand with your left. It is what it is. I am left-handed, I give a strong right handshake. Extend your hand straight forward. Reach out, grab, and shake, right? Okay. If someone reaches out like this to shake your hand with their palm facing down, this is someone who immediately wants to be recognized as the dominant person in the situation. Someone who naturally reaches their hand out facing, with their palm facing upward, is someone who is submissive. And the dominant and submissive traits are things that are engraved in our subconscious. It's not often something that you do on purpose. I still think if you go like this, like if you, hi, nice to meet you, you're kind of a douchebag. This is the way to go. It says that you see me as an equal and with respect, right? Here's the thing about the natural, dominant, and submissive mentality. I want you to even think of how like a woman naturally holds her hand out with her palms up when asking for her significant other to hold her hand. Like, can you hold my hand, please? Thank you. I need attention. Like, right? Women get soft when they're in love. And for men, or even for parents who are naturally in a dominant position, Think about when you're crossing the street with your kids, or when you're crossing the street with someone who's just smaller than you, who may not necessarily be your kid. But if you are the dominant person in the situation, if you are the protector, naturally if you're telling them to step back, your hands are face down. So there is a natural instinct when it comes to being dominant and when it comes to being submissive. And that doesn't mean that a woman is always in a submissive role. That doesn't mean that a man is always in a dominant role. Those are just examples that I use to say that certain situations call for certain behaviors. So now, depending on where you are visiting, where you live, who you're meeting, it's always important to educate yourself on what the proper and respectful greeting is for that cultural space that you will be experiencing. Again, this handshake conversation is really one that I've had to have with a lot of black men because growing up, there wasn't like someone to really let y'all know how important this gesture is, and that this is a form of representation when you are introducing yourself to someone, especially in an interview, especially when you're meeting a higher up, especially when you own your own business and you want to walk into a bank and ask for a loan. Like, your handshake speaks volumes. As a woman, I always instantly initiate the handshake. And the reason why I do that is because I walk into a space and I do not want men to be distracted by what I look like. And I want them to instantly understand that I recognize myself as an equal and as someone that demands and deserves their respect. Actually, the first time that I really started to pay attention to the compliment, wow, like nice handshake, was when I was 22 years old and I met LL Cool J for the first time. And so I was doing PR for a music blog. And I think that is an insecurity that comes with being a woman who does care about what you look like, because for some people it can send the wrong message, you know, like, oh, she got her makeup done. Oh, okay, you must be the on-air personality that's going to be interviewing me. No, I'm actually the person who coordinated this interview with your manager. I made this happen. You're welcome. I meet LL Cool J, I shake his hand, and so we have a moment where he looks down at my, like, I reach out, I shake his hand, he shakes my hand. He looks down at my hand and he's like, and proceeds to squeeze my hand. And what he said to me was, he complimented my handshake. He said that I had a really, really, really strong handshake for a woman and to never stop introducing myself like that. Oh, you best believe I took that compliment and ran with it. I will shake a hand at a club. I will shake a hand at work. I will shake a hand on the street. Anytime you meet me and we... Alright, let me calm down. Okay, back to the topic. Anytime you introduce yourself to someone, it is so important to maintain eye contact. Again, these are things that say, I am present, I am here, I see you and you see me. So I also want to stress the fact that there is nothing wrong with being met with a handshake. So someone who initiates a handshake, if you are being met with a handshake, one of the most important things and what makes a good handshake is to meet the person with the same intensity that they extended to you, right? So that is man to man, that is woman to woman, and that is also man to woman and even woman to man are. And for some men, I'm gonna give y'all a little trick, a little cute flirting mechanism. If a woman has a firm handshake and you recognize that, it's okay to squeeze back a little bit, just a little bit. It's in the proper setting. If this is like at a club, if this is on the street, if you're introducing yourself and it's flirting, maybe not in business, because in a business setting, if a woman meets you with a firm handshake and you meet her with the same intensity and then intensify your handshake, she's gonna see you kind of like problematic. All right? Just meet people with the same intensity that they meet yours. There is nothing that bothers me more than when somebody is so fine and comes to introduce themselves to me and I reach my hand out to shake his hand and he has a dainty and weak Why did you touch me? Why did you don't touch me? Practice. Like, if this is not something that crossed your mind, if this is not something that you were taught, if this is not something that comes natural to you, I promise you that that's okay. My aim here is to make sure that you are aware of what impression you're giving, especially in a setting that is super important. How you introduce yourself is so powerful in any setting, but most importantly in settings that will take you to the next level. It determines whether or not people trust you. It determines whether or not you are a confident person. It determines whether or not you are in tune with your power. It determines whether or not you deem yourself trustworthy. Like, can you lead is a question that is often answered in a handshake. Alright, that is all that I've got for you today. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Be sure to like, rate, comment, subscribe, share with a friend, share with your homeboys. If you found this content useful, definitely throw a thumbs up. Share your opinions in the comments below. I'm gonna let you guys know right now that I have time. I have time. Please don't ever think that you will be in my comment section being disrespectful, especially if you can't spell. If English is the only language that you speak, and I can say this as a woman who confidently speaks 3 languages but technically speaks 4, don't come for me, because I have time, and if I don't have time, I will make the time to read you. Thanks. Check out this highlight. I want you to know what good brows look like so that you can recognize it and never again try to come for me. So every time that you make a comment about my makeup, I'm actually just going to send you to my website because maybe you might be inspired to buy the baddie in your life, some highlights. Yes, I own my own makeup line. So again, like, I'm advertising my products, and I am fleeking these brows for other women, for the yeses and the oh my god, what is that moments on the street. You don't wear makeup, so this is not for you. I don't expect you to be impressed by this. Alright, that's it. That's all I got. I'm done being petty. Y'all really pissed me off this week. Okay. Thank you guys. I will see you next week.